What's going on, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode of a podcast called The Green, White and Gold, where we talk to Irish athletes from various disciplines. In this episode, we're going to be talking to two Irish cyclists, Alice Sharpe and Mark Downey, and international swimmer Conor Ferguson. Okay guys, so our first guest is Alice Sharpe, and before I play the interview, it just breaks up a small tiny bit when we're talking about the team pursuit, so just be wary, but it's only very, very short. Okay guys, so we're joined by track and road cyclist Alice Sharpe. Alice, if you want to introduce yourself and what you do.
Hi, I'm Alice. I've been riding on the track since 2016. I joined the program in January. So we rode our first World Cup season last year. And then on the road, I've also been riding since, with the UCI for this season. And then I started road cycling in 2016, and I was just racing at home and doing a few UCI races. But this year, this is my first year, like full time on the road, racing at the UCI level.
Okay, cool. So do you want to kind of take me through your kind of general camp day from when you wake up in the morning until you go back to bed again?
Yeah, sure. So in the summer, I live in Switzerland at the UCI Centre.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
So we live in a place called Montségur, which is where all of the athletes live. So it's kind of like a student halls of residence, except no partying. Everyone's in bed by 10. So yeah, we wake up here usually like 7, and then we leave from here at 7:30. It's like a 2K ride to the track, which is where we have all of our meals. So breakfast, lunch and dinner are all served at the track.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, arrive there for 8 o'clock, have breakfast, which is all provided, and then we head out on the road, usually 9:30, 10, and then depending on the session, we're back by lunchtime, have lunch there, and then usually I come back here to Montségur and have a nap and stuff, or just chill out, and then head back when we'll usually have a meeting or a core session, gym session, and then it's dinner, and then back here again, rest up, and then do the same again the next day.
Yeah, so it's very, very tough going, and like I suppose part of it is trying to, work on the load management and stuff. And is it the same then? You're just back. Well, we've been back a while from Belarus. It would be the same coming in, say, 2 weeks into a competition, or would it be less intense?
Yeah, so we will have like a taper period before a big competition, but obviously on the road you're racing near enough every week, sometimes more than once a week, so you can't taper for every competition. So sometimes you'll just ride with what you've got, or you're building towards another race, so you're using the other race like to train. But yeah, obviously the European Games were a big competition, so I was well rested before that, and we traveled out with plenty of time to be able to like acclimatize and taper and just take in like the Games Village. It was my first like big multi-sport event, so they wanted to make sure that we were all, not getting caught up in the hype of everything and able to just focus on the racing.
Yeah, and it was 120 kilometers, is that correct, for the road?
I think so. That's usually like a standard distance for us, so yeah.
That's incredible. Tell me, and that's not in all in one go, is it? It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so take me through your mindset from the start of that race, say to your 40 kilometers, 80 kilometers to your finish, because that's a long time on a bike. And what do you think about when you're cycling, because that's a very long time?
Yeah, I suppose it is, but you kind of get used to it. Like our race distance is 120 to 140 is the maximum that women ride. So when you're training, that is a long time to be, or even 3 hours is a long time to be out thinking about stuff. But in the race, there's so much going on, and you're thinking tactically, like watching the wheels, watching moves. So you don't have time to be bored or anything. You're always switched
Yeah,
in
I
on
suppose.
the racing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I usually break the race up into different parts. And in Minsk, there was a cobbled section, and before we'd had the discussion that the race finished over the top of the cobbles because there was no time to move up after that. It was a descent, a sharp left, and then it was a draggy climb to the finish. So you needed to be well positioned going into there. So usually in races there are like markers throughout which you need to like be switched into. So there's like mini finish lines throughout, and if you don't make it over that bit, then your race is done. So you're kind of racing to those other finish lines. But yeah, it's a bit different when I'm riding for Ireland than for my trade team, because quite often I'll be the only representative, whereas when we're riding the rest of the season in other types of races, I'll be maybe working for a teammate or the teammate's working for me. So sometimes it's good because I can, do what I want and I'm not having to sacrifice my race or work for anybody else. But then, yeah, it would also be nice to have somebody else out there with me.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
And speaking of teams, you're on the Irish team Pursuit as well.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah. And so obviously cycling isn't like, it's not like football or basketball. That it is a team sport, team Pursuit, but you're very like kind of dominant. If one person makes a mistake, the whole thing could go. So what's it like communication wise going around that track over and over as part of a team Pursuit?
Yeah, so when we're racing, obviously we're not speaking to one another, but we spend so much time together. I can tell you exactly what the other person was thinking, and our positions are always the same. So man one always rides man one, so you are used to the person in front of you because you're in so close proximity, but you trust their wheel 100%, and you can tell from their body language if they're tired or if they're about to do a longer turn. But the communication for the team Pursuit comes all from the coach. So each team do it differently. Some call it walking the line. So that if you are off pace, he'll walk towards you, and then if he wants you to slow down, he'll walk behind. Some people hold a split, like a lap board up. Some coaches point at you. So that the communication all comes from the coach. Unless something's gone really horribly wrong, then you might hear a scream from the team, but you don't really speak to each other.
So you're focused from the get-go.
Yeah.
And just a general kind of question, could you give me 2 or 3 kind of common myths around cycling that people think happens, but actually, you know what, it doesn't?
I don't know. A lot of people always ask me, do you follow a special diet? And I think they're always they're always really disappointed when I'm like, no. I think they think it's like the magic answer to, moving up from like riding a sportive to being an elite cyclist. But yeah, I think they're quite disappointed when I'm like, no, probably exactly the same as you.
Yeah, you just train 20 to 30 times harder than that person does.
Yeah.
So what are your plans now for the future? Are you aiming for Tokyo? I presume you are.
Yeah, I mean, I only started with the track team last January, so I'm just trying to gain experience. And if it happens, then it happens. But my world isn't going to come down if it doesn't happen this time around. I think I have enough time to aim for Paris, so no stress.
Yeah, that's a good approach to it. Just a few questions that we got sent in from Instagram. So we got one: a piece of advice for a youth cyclist in Ireland.
That's a good question. I'd say don't take things too seriously. Like cycling, you just get better with age and with more experience, and things. The racing is so like anything can happen in a race that's out of your control. So try not to get too caught up in things. And yeah, just enjoy lots of other sports and, keep other interests going, because it's like a long road to the top. So yeah, don't stress too much when you're young or take it too seriously. Just enjoy it.
Yeah. And then, what age did you start cycling? I presume very, very young.
No, I did triathlon since I was 11, and before that, I swam from 8,
Oh,
competitively.
okay.
Yeah, so I stopped doing triathlon when I was 21, 22, and that's when I started cycling. But obviously, I was riding the bike in triathlon. So, like, that's the same advice to the youth rider. Like, it doesn't mean that you can't pick something up when you're older. Yeah, you just have to be stubborn, I think.
Yeah. And do you have a cycling idol that you kind of, you watched that you kind of stole techniques off or whatever, or just kind of idolized?
Yeah, not so much. I just started cycling because I really loved it, but obviously
Yeah.
now I'm more in the sport. And around more riders, and just this year, like trying to balance the track and the road. There's a lot of, like, Marianne Vos would have done cyclocross, track and road for all those years, and I just think it's incredible that she stayed at the top and balanced all of those things, and is still like one of the best riders in the world. So yeah, she's super impressive.
Yeah, she is. And finally, we're going to finish up with a general quick-fire quiz. We have Mark Downey and a young swimmer, Conor Ferguson, on this episode as well. So your aim is to try get higher than them. So the first ever Olympic Games, what year was it held?
Oh my God, I have no idea.
Would I guess?
1902.
Oh, that was the second ever one, 1896. Very unlucky there. Yeah, very, very, very close. And then over to football, only country to have played in every single World Cup in soccer.
Germany.
Brazil, unlucky. I would have went with Germany as well. And back to the Olympics. How many records did Mark Spitz, the swimmer, set in 1972?
6.
7. You're getting very. Very unlucky. What does BMX stand for?
Oh my God, I have no idea.
The first letter you should know.
Bike.
Yeah, there you go. And then M.
I don't know.
It's a type of bike. A half a word of a bike.
Mountain.
No, moto. Unlucky. These are very hard. This one is ridiculous. Which sport is played on the biggest field in terms of area? And this is very obscure. I'll be very impressed if you get this one. It's very hard.
Okay. Well, I was going to say American football, but I feel like that's not very obscure.
No.
I don't know.
It's polo.
Oh,
very tough one.
Okay.
Yeah. You should get this one. First non-European to win the Tour de France.
I don't think I will get this. Egan Bernal.
No, great. Le Mans.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. And then the 3 actions of the triple jump.
Run, jump. No, run, skip, jump.
Yeah, to give you that one. I'll give you that one. And then the first women's sport to be in the Olympics in Paris in 1900.
Oh. Swimming?
No, tennis. Unlucky.
Oh, wow, I've done really well here.
It's fine. They're very, very obscure. This one, which boxer stunned Mike Tyson in 1990 and knocked him out?
I don't really know any boxers. Muhammad Ali.
Oh, Buster Douglas. And then, the last question, which country has never won an Olympic medal? And I'll give you options for this because this is very tough. Okay. Turkey, Iceland, Sudan, or Albania?
Sudan.
No, it was Albania.
Oh, okay.
So, listen, they're very hard questions. Um, they're very hard questions. Listen, Alice, thanks a million for coming on, first ever guest on the podcast.
Thank you. It's been good.
Thanks a million for that. Hopefully we're just getting started, but hopefully we get some sort of a mug or a t-shirt out to you if we get set up and stuff. So thanks a million for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Team Ireland cyclist Alice Sharpe there. So our next guest is fellow cyclist Mark Downey, talking about his recent triumph in Poland and his plans for Tokyo 2020. Want to introduce yourself?
Yep, good to be here. Good to be on.
Good. And Mark, take me through your kind of, if you were in a training camp, your kind of day-to-day routine from morning to going back to bed.
So I just really got home from a training camp there from Mallorca yesterday.
Okay, cool.
So it's fresh in the mind. So
Yeah.
Just a really normal day for us. It can be sort of built into. We normally do like 3 days on, 1 day off, sort of like 3 days training, obviously 1 recovery day.
Mm-hmm.
So it would normally either look like so maybe get up in the morning because obviously it was a bit warmer in Mallorca there this last while. We were getting up a bit earlier, so I'd say 7 o'clock start. So we head out in the bikes maybe for 2 hours, do some hill reps or something like that, sort of open up the systems. We would normally do that in sort of like 2 by 10 minute blocks on a hill like pretty close to where we live. So that's just what we were at this week. So it's a bit easier to remember. 2 by 10 minutes, and then sort of just do like a good hour warm up before that and a good cool down. So that's just really to get you ready for the afternoon's work, and then it's really quite simple. We go home, we get our lunch, and we train in the evening time again, 4 to 6 on the track. We on the track then we'll be doing quite different. That day on the Monday we were doing like timed events, so we would do like a 15-minute warm up. Mm-hmm. And then we would be doing like it's called the flying 3 kilometers. So you do 3 kilometers, and that's 12 laps, and the coach will be giving you splits every lap. And then you would do something. So that's kind of like working a wee bit longer, but like a bit still in the lactic system. And then you sort of after that you would have your longer effort, and then you start to bring it down, obviously because the body's got hit quite hard in that effort. You do the likes of some 2 kilometers or 1 kilometers, and then at the end of some like flying laps or something. And then it's sorry.
No, go on. Yeah.
And then I sort of just literally pack up and try and recover as much as possible for the next day. So,
what's your mindset when all of this is going on? Because obviously for a non-cyclist like me, it's very, very repetitive. What keeps you just going and motivated, to get the extra kilometer? I'm going to get up, I'm going to do this for 3 days, have a rest day, get up, do 3 days again. What drives you?
I think for me, I think the 3 days works perfectly, because it's like the first day is grand. You've had a day off. You're quite fresh. The first day is okay, and then the second day is obviously really, really hard. Then that's when you get really all your really good hard work done, and then you can wake up on the third day knowing that tomorrow you're getting off. Obviously, it's like, and I think there's days when you wake up and you're like, look, not again. And I'm not the best morning person, so whenever we're in Mallorca there, we were getting up at 6:30 to go riding for 7. It was a bit of a struggle, but I think whenever you have for me, like training camps is just to make sure everyone's sort of reading off the same hymn sheet. And sometimes if you have a training camp, whenever it's like not really serving a big goal, obviously it's a bit harder to motivate yourself because there's no real major target. But obviously when it comes to the likes of your World Cups or your World Championships, and you have a target in your head, it's a lot easier to get up in the morning and do the bread and butter stuff.
Yeah. And when did you start getting serious, or kind of say to yourself, you know what, I'm really good at cycling, I'm gonna do this kind of as my job? When did that kind of click?
I think
at what age?
I think I was second year junior was the first sort of time I got a real insight. I got my first European medal in the juniors. So I was 18. Yeah, I just turned 18 during the championships.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I got a silver medal in the points race there. So that was kind of when I got a big insight to flip. I'm not actually bad at track cycling here. If you get a European medal,
Yeah.
you're kind of
Yeah.
okay. And obviously Ireland then hadn't really got too many of them either. So it was that was an exciting time too. And then obviously my father, he was a past cyclist, and my brother. So
Okay.
yeah, there's a bit of
It's in the
history in
blood.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Some say it's in the genes, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And tell me, because obviously 18, it's like every lad that age just wants to go out. You
yeah.
know, they want to. In all honesty, they just want to go out. They want to drink and stuff. And what was it like, kind of saying no, and just I don't want to. I'm training. Is it tough? I presume it would be very, very tough. Or was it
Yeah,
just easy for you?
I think really at that time, because my brother was starting to actually retire from professional cycling, and I was wanting to sort of take it on. And my father, actually, he's a teacher, and my mum, she's in the teaching line of business too. So I was kind
Okay,
of
yeah,
nearly arguing. I was arguing with them more as such, because I had applied for university and got into some good degrees, and they were
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
obviously with my brother fading out, they were kind of flipped. They didn't want he didn't want me to do the same thing. And yeah, my brother, just the last year, really, he didn't really enjoy the last year in the sport. So they were kind of not really looking me to go that way. But I had it in my head straight away that that's what I wanted to do. And I said, I actually bargained with my dad. I says, give me 1 year. I says, give me 1 year and I'll see what I can do. And he says, right, okay. I says, we'll do that. And I went off to France. Um, that winter, I trained in the track with the national squad for the track, and the sort of funds wasn't really there for the men's team, so I went off and I focused a wee bit more on road. Went to a country that I didn't know the language, and yeah, just started from the amateur scene, and yeah, built my
yeah.
way up, and the
Well, you
federation came.
definitely have. I mean, I'm looking here, 2016, Appledorn, and then 2017, with Felix English in the
Yeah,
Madison in Los Angeles, California, and then it boomed fourth in the Commonwealth Games this year. Incredible third in Poland. And how do you stay grounded knowing that Tokyo's coming up, and oh, you know what, I could have a shot here at doing pretty well.
yeah, I think that's exciting. Like when I looking back to the Commonwealth Games, it was my first experience, and my brother had been there before, and he like I just never I'd been to Youth Olympics, but nothing to the extent of the Commonwealth Games in the Gold Coast. And he says, just look, don't get too excited with the whole format, because it's multi-sport event and it's just literally 2 or 3 weeks in paradise. You can go in the food court and you can eat hash browns and sausages all week if you want.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just keep the head, and I'm the type of guy, whenever the head sort of does switch off, it completely switches off. So he says keep the head, and yeah, the Gold Coast was a great experience, and it let me see that even at my first attempt at a multi-sport games, I could cope really well with the pressure, and yeah, I didn't quite make getting a medal, but yeah, I wasn't too far away,
oh,
and
definitely not. But you got it this year in Poland
yeah, I
in the
got it
points
in
race.
Poland. So yeah,
Do you
that
wanna?
for me, that was just an example that if things don't really go the direction you want to, sometimes you just sort of have to take it in the chin and keep moving forward, and not really dwell on the fact, 'cause sports careers are like a short lifespan. So if you dwell on something too long, like, maybe your window's gone.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to talk to me about the couple of weeks before Poland? What you were up to, kind of like preparation and stuff. Would have been the same as Mallorca or less intense?
Oh no, it was a lot more intense,
Oh,
super more.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of similar format, but like the stuff you'll be doing there would maybe be not more efforts as you would be, say, before a world champs, because obviously you're just trying to hit that, like you'll hit your sort of peak, like training, like sort of maybe like 10 days out from the competition, so you literally train as hard as you can, say 10 days to a week out. And then in sport, you have a thing called a taper. So what you do is kind of like you taper right down. So it's like 1 day hard, 1 day easy, 1 day hard, 1 day easy.
Mm. Yeah,
And
yeah.
what that's allowing to do is like the body just to like repair all the muscles from all the hard work you've done, and then obviously show up on race day as fresh as possible and as fit as possible at the same time. So yeah, I had worked really really hard over the winter, and yeah, it was a bumpy winter, all right, with our Olympic like sort of qualifying for the points and stuff, and I had a couple of crashes and a couple of sicknesses whenever I really didn't need them. So it was really nice and really positive for me to finish off in Poland with a world's medal. It was it was a milestone in my
Great,
career. I didn't
great
know.
achievement.
Yeah. So
And so obviously Tokyo 2020. What's your goals for 2020?
Yeah, everyone's always asking me that, and it's like the Olympics. Everyone just talks about how the Olympics is so different and so much harder, and obviously all national governing bodies just like completely fund the Olympics. That's the pinnacle of every sport.
Yeah,
So I'm quite a grounded guy and quite sort of would like to say have a good understanding of the sport. So I think for me, um, obviously the stress of just the whole qualifying process and going to every World Cup and trying to be as best as you can. And last year it didn't go as well. I think for me in our situation, I think if we can get to the Olympics in this cycle, I think it's a good achievement because they always say that you need at least one Olympics under your belt. Obviously, there's super talent out there who just go and obviously clean up maybe the first time. But I think for me, I'm looking at it quite realistic and not putting massive amounts of pressure on me. I'm still young in my career, so I think if I can get there this time and get there this time and experience it. Obviously, when you get there, it's going to be. I'm obviously not going to be saying, "Oh, I'm just here to make the numbers up" type of thing. I'll be going there to try and do something. But yeah, it's just you can see how much more stressful it is on the coaches and on the staff, and it's kind of like that. This really is important, and that sort of sometimes rubs off on you that it's a lot more hard. Like obviously the Worlds happens every year, and a lot of people still say, "Oh, would you rather a Worlds medal or a world title or an Olympic medal or vice versa?" And it's just kind of like it's whatever you make of the event. It's if the world title was
yeah,
your goal, that sport, then that's always going to mean more to you than what the Olympics ever was. But my dad done the Olympics a few years ago, and he's the only one in the house to ever get to the Olympics. So in my mind, I would like,
you gotta
I
get
would,
there.
I gotta get there, and I gotta go one better.
Listen, just a few questions from the Instagram Q&A that we had up yesterday. A piece of advice for a youth cyclist in Ireland.
Piece of advice for you guys, I'd say I said to a lot of guys, and even up my way, I said just enjoy the process of like building up to a big race that means so much to you. I think like we don't dwell enough, the hard work and the time we put into something, and then it comes up pretty fast, and you achieve the goal you're looking. But I would say in that moment, enjoy it. I says because like them moments don't happen very often in your career, and you know how hard you work for something. Then when you finally get it, and if you don't take the time to savor it, it'll only be looking back in your career that flip that went fast.
Yeah. And cycling idols growing up. Obviously, your dad and your brother would have a huge effect on you. But was there anyone you'd watch in say the Tour or anything like that? You're like, oh wow, I want to be like him or anyone like that.
Yeah, I actually love Bradley Wiggins.
Okay,
Bradley Wiggins was my like he was sort of whenever I was sort of a few years starting to really look into the sport and really get interested. So I just thought, he was an absolute rock star, and it was just he was the guy I wanted to be. And then obviously I got the opportunity to ride for his team and meet him and stuff and race against him even once.
Yeah,
It was that was pretty crazy. Like it was not many people get to say they raced against their idol, but such a rock star in our sport. Like
yeah, we had a question from your teammate Felix English, but I don't think we can say it on the podcast.
Right, okay. What's it
Yeah. We had another one. Who's another one come in? Who's the second best cyclist in Banbridge? This came in from from a teammate.
The second best cyclist in Banbridge. I'd say Jerry Beggs.
Okay, you might be making somebody upset there, maybe.
If
And
they listen to
listen,
this, for sure, they get a good laugh off
yeah,
that.
yeah. Listen, we're going to finish with a quick fire kind of general sports quiz. Your fellow Irish teammate Alice Sharpe did this as well, so you're trying to beat her. And
Okay.
we have a young Irish swimmer, Conor Ferguson, as well coming on this episode.
Okay.
So we'll start off. The first ever Olympic Games, what year?
Um, 1880.
Oh, close. 1896.
1896. Do you get a half
Yeah.
point? Do you get a half point for that? No.
I don't think so. Alice was closer. She said 1902. So
Okay.
the only country we're going to soccer now. The only country to have played in every World Cup.
Only country to ever play in a World Cup.
In every World Cup in soccer, yeah.
Brazil.
Yeah, you got that one spot on. That's a point for you.
Not a football fan, but that was a wild guess.
Back to the Olympics in 1972. Swimmer Mark Spitz. How many world records did he set in that year?
4.
4? No, it was 7. It was a huge
7?
achievement. 7,
Right.
yeah, crazy.
Is there anyone else in this?
Kind of. No, it was a crazy achievement by a crazy athlete. Over to your sport. Well, kind of BMX. Closely related
Right.
to it. What does it stand for?
Bike.
Yeah, I'll give you one for that.
I'm just gonna say for a bit of crack. Bike maniac. I don't know what the X stands for. To be honest, I haven't a clue.
The X is just the X, and the M is moto. I hadn't a clue myself. This one is very obscure questions. So, which sport is played on the biggest field in terms of area? And you got to think proper outside the box for this one.
The biggest, is it called a pitch?
No, I'd say more of a field now. It wouldn't really be a pitch. I wouldn't know a whole lot about this sport. It's quite obscure, especially in this country, I think.
I was going to say golf, but
no, but that technically wouldn't be wrong. It's polo. It's polo.
Polo. All right. Okay.
Crazy. We have a Tour de France question. The first non-European to win the Tour.
First non-European to win the Tour.
Yeah.
Probably should know this. Greg LeMond?
Yeah, that's bang on. Greg LeMond, the American. Right. In the triple jump, the 3 actions that you're going to do in a triple jump that they have to do.
The triple jump? The 3 actions?
Yeah, the 3 actions before they make it to the pit.
What do you mean? What do you mean 3 actions? 3 steps?
Yeah, the 3 steps. Yeah. Like, I suppose it's kind of like
is there a name for that, is there?
Yeah.
All right. 3 skip.
It's down as a hop, skip, and a jump. Yeah, we're changing this. We're changing this quiz for future references. It's way too hard. The first women's sport in the Olympics in Paris in 1900, which was the first sport. The first sport women were allowed to compete in.
Athletics.
No, it was tennis.
Tennis. That's a random one.
And no, yeah. Like I said, we're definitely switching this up next week. Which boxer stunned Mike Tyson in 1990 and knocked him out? It was a 42-1 shot.
I fucking should know this. I've watched that video flipping.
The motivational one. Yeah.
I've watched it so many times. Give me 2 minutes. Gonna go on YouTube.
I'll give you 15 seconds. Is
I
it
haven't got
Con?
his name. I haven't got his name now. I know the
You're
video,
going
but
to kick yourself. It's Buster Douglas.
Buster Douglas. That's the very one. Flip me.
Buster Douglas. Yeah.
Should have had that
Last
one.
question then.
Easy.
The last one, we'll give you a multi-choice for this one. Feeling generous. So, which country has never won an Olympic medal? Okay, so Turkey, Iceland, Sudan, or Albania?
An Olympic medal. Does that mean the Summer Olympics or the Winter Olympics?
Both. Just
Both.
either discipline has never won an Olympic medal.
Surely Iceland has won something in the Winter Olympics. So
yeah, I'll give you that. You can rule them out.
Who was the first one? Albania was the third one.
So you narrowed it down to Turkey, Sudan, and Albania.
Sudan.
No, it is Albania, which is a bit of a surprise
I would have thought
to me because I thought surely they'd pick something up.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought as well, honestly. I would. It's
Mark,
going to be my last. Yeah.
It's a tough one. Listen, Mark, thanks a million for coming on.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks. Enjoyed the show.
It's been a real pleasure to talk to you, and best of luck with your preparations for the future and everything.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks for the call, and I'll
no problem.
Continue to listen to the rest of the podcast.
Mark Downey there on what it's like being a pro cyclist preparing for Tokyo 2020. So my last guest is going to be young swimmer Conor Ferguson, talking about managing college and training, and also about his very successful Commonwealth Games last year. All right, guys. So we're joined for our third guest with Conor Ferguson, an Irish international swimmer. Conor, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Conor Ferguson. I'm 19 years old, turning 20 in October. And I've been a senior international swimmer for, I think it's 3 years now. And I've represented Ireland on the world stage 3 times at a senior level, and twice I'm just sort of coming out of my junior ranks now, so I'm sort of progressing to that senior stage. Obviously, the Olympics are coming up next year, so this is a pretty big year for me. Yeah. And Conor, do you want to talk me through kind of your day-to-day kind of routine? Say if you're in a camp, from when you get out of bed, when you go back into bed, what you get up to, and the times and stuff. Yeah, it's been a bit different. I've been in 3 programs since the start of the last year of the last Olympic cycle. So it's been a bit, every program I've been in is slightly different, but it's usually involves the same sort of training. So like a basic week for me, it would look like training in the morning, which would be swimming. And if I was going to college or if I had something on, I'd be getting up pretty early. Like the session would start maybe half 5, and then depending really on the day, we could be doing a gym session after the swimming session, and then we get a bit of a break, and then we're back in the pool at night. So it's usually it doesn't really, they're big days. Last year I was training about 18 hours in the pool and a week, and about 6 hours in the gym. So it's fairly demanding on the training type of things, or the training times, and then on top of that, you have to be on top of your nutrition and all the rest of it. So it's fairly
very heavy going.
Sport.
You said a word there, college.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're a normal 19-year-old lad going to college, it would be a completely different experience. You'd be going out maybe 2-3 times a week. You'd be barely keeping up with your struggles, and that's just my own personal experience. What's it like, having to remain so focused when you see maybe some of your pals they're going out, and you have to go, lads, I'm training tomorrow. No, I can't. You just don't have a choice. Tell me about that. Like, what's that like?
Yeah, well, I've been in that sort of situation before where, back when I was probably more doing my GCSEs, when I was about 16 in the last Olympic cycle, a lot of my friends, I was sort of getting to that age where a lot of my friends were going out, and it was tough at the time because I was saying, no, I can't go up, and lads, I can't go out, lads. I'm up in the morning, and I'm up training in the morning the next day, and it was a pretty difficult sort of stage in my life, and a lot of them, some of them understood it and some of them didn't, and but then as you sort of grow up, you start to realize who them true sort of friends are, you know what I mean, and they do respect it. I ended up moving away to a boarding school for my A levels in England, and it was a bit easier. I was sort of surrounded by people with similar goals and to myself and the same sort of mindset. So it wasn't really a stress. I didn't really need to worry about that sort of life, because most of my friends were involved in the swimming game that I'm in. And so I didn't really, obviously, in our off season we've got that time, and maybe a few other times in the year, but we got to be smart with it. You can't go out at the weekend and get hammered and then turn up the train on a Monday morning and expect to give 100%. You know what I mean? Because that's something that I've learned over the years, and that sort of, as I've learned that through mistakes that I've made, and if I want to achieve what I want to achieve, if I want to go to Olympics, you can't be really at that.
No.
As I've got older, people my age sort of respect that, and it's not a big deal that when I've got times of the year where I can go out and party, and it's great. But I'm very much focused on being 100% for training.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about your senior accolades. First of all, 2018 Commonwealth Games, incredible. Into the final of the 50-meter backstroke and the 100 meters. You stopped an Australian treble in the semi-final, which is incredible. You were what, 2018, so 18 at the time?
Yeah.
17,
Yeah, it was great. Commonwealth, it was probably the most enjoyable meet I've ever been to be honest. We still talk about it to this day. I learned so much from that meet. I remember going into it and being so pumped, and my goal was actually going into it. I was like, I want a medal. I'm one of the, even my friends will tell you, I always set myself high standards and high goals. And
definitely, yeah.
And I was I think in the semi-final, I was going into the final fourth in the 100. And I remember looking at the top three guys and sitting in fourth position and being like, right, I gotta really swim a miracle swim here if I want a medal. And I remember I came dead last in that final, but I remember saying to myself just before I was about to jump in the water, because backstroke you start in the water, and just before, I remember looking down the lane and just saying to myself, right, I'm just going to go out hard, and I think I've done enough work, and I believe I've done the work that I can hold on. And I flipped in second place behind a former world champion, Mitch Larkin from Australia.
That's an incredible feat.
Yeah, no, and a few of my friends still talk about it this day. I definitely wowed the crowd, but I didn't quite have the back end of the swim to finish it off. But it was really, really good experience, and I've learned from that swim how to swim the 100 backstroke better, and that's just sort of comes with experience, So yeah, no, it was really good.
No, definitely. And tell me, if you can cast your mind back to either the 50 or the 100 finals, what's it like on that flip? Can you look across and see where you are? Because on the TV we've got the line and stuff.
Yeah.
We know what's going on. But what's it like? You're underwater. You're not underwater for the backstroke. But you're looking across, and and you can see what's your mindset to try, I'm going to go to this place, I'm going to gain places and try to get a medal here. What are you thinking?
Well, unfortunately with the backstroke, I know with a few other strokes, with the butterfly and the breaststroke, they if they look quickly, they can, and they can see, and they can look across, and the same with the freestyle when you're breathing.
Yeah.
But with the backstroke, I don't have that. I can't really see anything. I'm looking up to the sky, and I can't really see where any of my competitors are. So I sort of have to go on feel. But yeah, no, it's very much, it's hard to explain, especially with the 100. The 50 is a different ball game. It's just what we like to call it, like a splash and dash, and we just really go for it. There's no real thinking about it. With the 100, there's slightly more of a, it's more, how can I say it, like strategic. Different people have different ways of swimming it. I tend to prefer, and over the years, going out slightly easier and coming back very, very hard. Now sometimes that changes with the training that I've done, but I find that that's the best way for me to swim it.
No, definitely. And then South Korea was this year. Is it safe to say you might have been a small bit disappointed with South Korea?
No, absolutely. I think I was very disappointed. It's hard to explain. It's been a really tough year. I've had to make a few changes. I'm actually changing program again, and a few people know, but I'm sure it's going out public now. But and eventually people will find out. But I've decided to go back to my home club in Larne. And I think that it's not that I'm not putting it on anybody else really, but the whole, it was a really good experience being back in that world level. I did it in 2017 in Budapest, and where I sort of just flew into the competition and flew out. But it's been a difficult year. It's been riddled just with injuries, and I got sick after trials. I got the mumps, which was really tough. For 2 weeks, I was out of swimming, and then it probably took another 2 weeks to 3 weeks to sort of get back into shape. So it has been a very tough year. I think I don't like making excuses because I did have a good 12 weeks of training into the competition, but it just didn't really go to plan, and I can't really I don't blame anybody for that. I think it just didn't really work out for me. I think and I think that's one of the reasons I'm moving program, and I think Dublin is a really, really good place, and it's got everything you could ever wish for. It's one of the reasons why I moved away. It's just exactly the type of place that I was looking for. So that's why I moved back home or to Dublin. But it just didn't really work out for me, and that happens in swimming. Like it's nothing really to do with their program or to do with me. It just sometimes, swimmers or athletes change programs and it doesn't work out. It's just normal. It happens to plenty of swimmers. It happens, like, I can name a few. There's Olympic it even happens to the best, like the Olympic champion in the 200 freestyle in 2012. He moved and trained under Michael Phelps as coach, and it didn't really work out for him. No, I'm using I'm not comparing myself to the Olympic champion because I think that's a bit unrealistic. But I'm just using that as an example.
Well, you say unrealistic. I read a thing. Your goal was to be the first male Irish Olympic medalist. If you really push yourself, you go through your rehab. You're saying about your shoulder and your elbow. If you go through your rehab, could you see yourself, getting that medal around your neck, whether it be, bronze, silver, or gold?
Yeah. That's something I did a chat about it a few months ago to a group of young girls, dancers, and I was sort of chatting about this, and from a young age, pretty much from when I started swimming at 8 years old, I always had this goal and this belief that I was going to be Olympic champion, and just like any other 8-year-old would have, like I could ask my cousin, like, or anybody really, like, at that age and what they want to do, and they'll be like, oh, I want to be the next Ronaldo if they play football, or I want to be the next Michael Phelps if they swim, you know what I mean? And I was chatting, and as the years went on, like, it's probably been really recently. I mean, I came second in 2017 at the World Junior Championships, which is second in the world at under 18 years old. Now,
it's a huge achievement.
Yeah, and if you asked me back then, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely, I'm gonna go for that gold medal, or at least a medal at the Olympics. But the past few years, it's been tough. Like, I haven't really improved, and that sort of dream has disappeared a bit. But I still believe in myself. I do believe that. I don't know if I quite believe that I'll get the gold, but I feel like if you're aiming for a final at the Olympic Games, you may as well aim for a medal. And if you're aiming for a medal, it'd be stupid not to go for gold. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So my goal hasn't changed. Is that I've stopped really focusing on the outcome and started focusing a bit more in the process and what I can do, because at the end of the day, like, I can't change that outcome. I can't control anybody else, but what I can do is I can control myself and what I do, and I'll do the best that I can do to get that outcome. But I'm not really focused on that anymore. I think that's a very sort of young person's attitude to be.
But it's still a very good attitude to go with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like, I'm obviously gonna go for the best of the best, and that you can achieve in the sport. I think it'd be stupid not to. I think if you put a limit on anything, you probably won't get it. I've said it to a few of my friends this year, the ones that are close to the Olympic qualifying time. I've said to them, look, you can't say, if I get the Olympics, you gotta fully believe that you're going to the Olympics. Even if you don't have the time, you gotta believe that you're gonna turn up in April and do that time. It's when I get to the Olympics, you know what I mean? It's having that mindset.
Yeah, definitely. We just have our Instagram questions that came in yesterday, Conor.
Yeah.
You've answered one of them already on how many hours a week you spend training and in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 18. We'd say 18 rough.
Yeah, it's 18. It's been it gets changed about the place where I go, or sort of what week I'm on. But I mean, there's been times before I've done way more or way less. You know what I mean? It's just really dependent on where you are in your cycle, or what sort of training environment or program you're in. So yeah, it's different. But
yeah. And our other question, this actually came in from Brendan Hyland, a teammate of yours. What other sports would you have a huge interest in, and then your favorite current kind of sports person, whether that be swimming or any other sports?
Oh, that's a tough one. I do like the boxing or the UFC. I sort of just follow a wee bit of that.
Yeah.
It's I like watching the Irish guys, especially the boxers, like Mike Conlon and a few of the Carl Frampton and stuff like that. I love watching them. But to be honest, I don't really have a favorite sort of sport. I like following a bit of everything. Like my family are very involved in the rugby. My dad works for World Rugby as a second commissioner, and does a bit, I think, for the IRFU.
Okay.
And my brother plays rugby for Estonian RBAI, so in Belfast. And so they're quite heavily involved.
Genes.
Yeah. So I like sort of just watching it. I'm not a die-hard rugby fan. The same with the football. I support Manchester United, so I just sort of
not
like watching them.
Not a great penalty by Pogba the other night.
No,
Both.
but I think it's been a good start to our season there. So no, I do sort of keep up, and I watch every sort of sport the best I can. The same with the golf. I know the golf was the Open, with the Open being home and stuff. So I sort of kept up with that, and it's good to see Shane Lowry
it's
winning
great.
that. So with regards to like a sports person, it's pretty tough. If you asked me a couple of years ago, I'd say Conor McGregor, but I don't really know. I don't really know how I feel about that anymore.
We won't dive into that too much.
No, I absolutely. I think what he done, what he has done, and with his sport is, I do respect that, but I don't know about all the other stuff and the controversy around that.
But he's a marvelous athlete. Just outside of the cage is a bit questionable.
Yeah, I don't know if anyway, no, it's a very tough question. I'm not really sure. I quite like I respect the confidence that Floyd Mayweather has, and how just I love watching videos of him just talking and seeing how confident he is. It kind of gets me going a bit. I like that, and I respect that. And it's not as I don't really have a favorite athlete. I mean, as a swimmer, I'd say the typical Michael Phelps. I think what he's done and what he's been through, it's just phenomenal. Like just 8 gold medals. I don't think I'll ever be matched. I don't even think anyone will get close to it. And
it's incredible.
Yeah, and just what he went through, just with the depression and the stuff that he had after the 2012 Olympics, and going through a bit of dark patches and being able to get through that, and then going to Rio and doing as well as he did was just phenomenal. And it was just nice to see that. So no, I respect that.
Yeah, definitely. We just have our quiz to finish up, Conor. We had Alice Sharpe and Mark Downey, 2 Irish cyclists, on earlier. So your aim is to get higher than those 2, and I'll reveal at the end what they got as well. Okay. So it's just 10 questions. I will warn you, some of these are disgracefully hard. But some aren't too bad. There's a swimming one in there, so hopefully you'll get that.
Happy
days. But we'll start with the first ever Olympic Games. When was that held?
Oh, when was it held? Oh my goodness.
First ever one, yeah.
It was like it's Athens, but isn't it? But I can't.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Held. This is bad because I should probably know this. I'm gonna say like 100 AD or something.
No, 1896.
Oh my god!
I know. I probably should have said modern Olympics, maybe.
Oh right, okay.
I was like dodgy one on my
Greek. Or something.
Yeah. On to football, soccer. Only country to have played in every single World Cup so far.
Brazil.
Yeah, on the dot. Nailed that one.
Sweet.
How many records did Mark Spitz set in 1972 in the Olympics?
Oh my god, I actually don't know this. I'm going to say 7.
Yeah, you got that one. Fair play. Got that one. BMX, what does that stand for? I'll give you a point for every word.
BMX. Bicycle.
Yeah, there's one.
Oh man, I have no idea. I don't even know. Like madness or something. I have no idea.
Moto X, yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Next one. This is ridiculously hard. What sport is played on the biggest pitch or field in terms of area? And you've got to think proper outside the box here. And we had Mark Downey say golf. I'll tell you, it isn't golf. I don't think we played in Ireland at all whatsoever.
And is it like really well? Is it known? Like?
Oh yeah, it is. It would be known. Like if when I say it, you'll know what it is. But it's not. It's not in the Olympics. I'll tell you that.
Oh, Jesus. I can't even. Is it something like I don't even know if these are sports that I'm thinking of. It's definitely like it's a sport, like, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be classed as a sport.
Is it something like oh, I have no idea. I'm just gonna pass that, to be honest.
It's polo. It's the one they play on the horses. It's quite a tough one.
Yeah. I wouldn't even follow that.
The next one is completely way before your time and my time. Non-European, the first non-European to win the Tour de France.
Oh my god! When did the Tour de France start?
I would say early 1900s.
Oh my goodness! I can't even. No, I'm past that as well.
Okay, yeah, but that's Greg LeMond. And back to the Olympics, athletics.
Yeah.
The three actions that a triple jumper is going to do before he reaches the pit.
Run.
No, I'll say the three motions after running. So when he starts his kind of, I won't say because yeah, that's one. I'll give you a point for that.
Well, like land.
No, that's not the second one. You could still go for the third one.
I have no idea, to be honest.
Yeah, so it's hop, skip, jump.
All right, okay.
Yeah, it's this quiz is quite hard. I was telling the two cyclists that we're going to change it up.
What am I on,
week.
like one or something?
No, you've not doing too bad. You've got Brazil, you've got Spitz, you've got half of the BMX. You're going fine.
Right.
So the first in 1900s in Paris in the Olympics, the first women's sport was introduced. Can you tell me what sport that was?
Ooh, I'm gonna say athletics.
No, it's tennis. Mark Downey went with
goodness.
Mark Downey went with athletics as well. So
Yeah.
okay, so we're going to boxing now. Which boxer stunned Mike Tyson in 1990 and knocked him out? A 42-1 shot.
Oh, it's your man, Lennox. It's not Lennox Lewis. Oh, it's
No, it's not.
Oh, what do you call him? Buster? Is it Buster Douglas?
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Used in motivational videos everywhere on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, last question. No, go on.
I was just thinking, like, looking at some crazy interviews of like Mike Tyson shouting probably Buster Douglas. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, you're fine. Last question before we wrap up. I'll give you multi-choice for this one. It's quite hard. Which country has never won a summer or winter Olympic gold medal? So the four choices are Turkey, Iceland, Sudan, or Albania.
I'd say Sudan.
No, it is Albania. I would have went with Sudan myself. Listen, you did actually score the most out of the three guests on today's podcast. That's how tough. That's how tough this quiz is. Listen, Conor, thanks a million for coming on.
Thank you. It was great.
Crack interview on the first episode. Listen, once we establish ourselves, we're going to try to get you out a mug or a t-shirt or something for coming on as well. So,
awesome.
Thanks a million.
Happy days. All the best.
See you later.
Bye.
Conor Ferguson there, a very young, humble man speaking about his great swimming experiences so far. So we have reached the end of the podcast now, and I'd like to thank again Alice, Mark and Conor for coming on and sharing their experiences within cycling and swimming. If you are listening on Spotify, there is a subscribe button. Make sure you hit that so you get every episode. Same with Android or Apple. And on YouTube, you can hit that subscribe button as well. And make sure to share the podcast around so we do get recognized and grow into a bigger audience. That's it from me for the first episode. Thanks for listening.